Somebeachsomewhere was a winner, no doubt about it, and he'd shown flashes of true greatness. With every win came more pressure on the horse and driver to be absolutely perfect. The 2008 Meadowlands Pace.
And they're off. Mucho Sleazy is under urging from Dave Miller from mid-pack. Somebeachsomewhere looking to protect position.
Somebeachsomewhere is the overwhelming favorite, both in the stands and at the betting window.
He was the fastest by far and most impressive horse.
Share the Delight shoots through. He's now racing in third.
They were going wicked fractions, but I didn't want to be in it, but I didn't want to be too far out of it either. A horse called Artificial went to the front.
And Somebeachsomewhere is tracking the cover of Bullville Powerful. He's second over on the outside, and they're rolling pretty good as Artificial takes the lead.
I had a choice down the backstretch to make a move, and I knew I had to get around that horse at some point. I guess I went 3 wide going to the half.
In front, and here comes the big horse, Somebeachsomewhere. He's 3 wide on the backstretch for Paul McDonnell. Mucho Sleazy is racing in fourth. Share the Delight 5 lengths further back fifth. 51 and 4. Amazing half here, and 3 wide Somebeachsomewhere. He powers up now to take the lead as they move on to the far turn. Artificial is stretching him out.
Eventually I cleared Artificial, made the front going into the last turn at the Meadowlands. I still had some horse, but I knew I'd used up more than I wanted to.
Somebeachsomewhere was used very hard. He's under a hand drive. McDonnell shakes the lines at him. Artificial sticking right with him. 1:19 and 1. Somebeachsomewhere leads it by 2. Artificial tips to the outside, trying to get to him. An eighth of a mile away. Somebeachsomewhere under pressure. Artificial up to his wheel on the outside. Somebeachsomewhere full out. Artificial, a desperate lunge on the outside. Artificial, Somebeachsomewhere at the line. Artificial, 1:47, world record.
The streak was over.
Artificial just kept coming, and he got me last length of the race. It was surreal that it actually happened because I had never seen an Artificial race like that before.
Paul summed it up best. You know, we might have underrated the competition a little bit. I had made a statement, it was quoted and printed in one of the magazines, that I expect he will get beat. I just hope he doesn't get beat going for $1 million. And 2 weeks later, he got beat going for $1 million.
I can remember coming to Mohawk the next Monday night or whatever it was, and people were like, they didn't know whether to talk to me or not. It was devastating for them as much as it was for me, and they felt bad for me, and they felt bad for Brent.
A friend of mine said to me, I kept thinking he was going to win even in the replay. So it was just so hard to believe.
You got to the point that after he won a bunch of races that you assumed he would win everything. Losing one race in New York was almost a shock to us.
As again, good groups do, good people do, they regroup very quickly and put it behind us and move on. I'm sure there was a lot of people wondering, what's he going to do now? How great is he? Is he going to dig deep now, or is he going to get a little bit sick of racing because he got beat up?
First one off the wings of the gate from the outside, Somebeachsomewhere.
Somebeachsomewhere answered those questions. A campaign of dominance that began the moment he set hoof back on the track.
Somewhere leads by 2 lengths here, back in.
He took the next 3 races handily.
By 5, by 6, Somebeachsomewhere wins the gold final, and he's done it in 1:49 2/5, and that is the.
Paul McDonnell is going to send Somebeachsomewhere up to duel with Deuce Sealster, trying to make it to the front. Somebeachsomewhere, as expected, is on the lead. Somebeachsomewhere is going to drive early.
And in the Confederation Cup final, he became the first 3-year-old in history to clock under 1:50 on a half-mile track.
1:49 and 2. That's a world record for a 3-year-old pacing colts. Outstanding.
But there were bigger stakes on the horizon. Lexington, Kentucky, the place where Beach's story began, and the home of the Red Mile, a storied racetrack with over 130 years of history. If there are any doubters after Somebeachsomewhere's loss at Meadowlands, a world record here would silence them.
And they're off Some Beach Somewhere. Pace is out strongly and has already crossed over against the pylons. And there goes the Beach. He's letting out in the second quarter. Some Beach Somewhere is now 3 lengths in front for Paul McDonnell. It's all Some Beach Somewhere, and he's drawn clear to a 6-length lead with 1/8 of a mile to go. Mystery Chase on the outside is second. Blue Claws racing in third. Some Beach Somewhere.
Coming into the home stretch, and he's 5 or 6 lengths ahead, and by the time he gets to the wire, he's 9 or 10 lengths ahead.
1:46.4, the world record.
He dominated that race.
I mean, it was pretty unbelievable in terms of an athletic performance.
Some Beach Somewhere had been breaking records his entire career, but with a world record set in front of a packed house at the famed Red Mile, he had cemented his place in history as one of the greatest pacers of all time. And he wasn't finished yet. Strength and stamina clearly made him a physical winner. But with Beach, there was always something more. He had heart. He had determination. He had a winner's spirit. Perhaps his greatest show of spirit came during the Messenger Final at Yonkers Raceway. No place was it more evident than in the driver's seat.
I can remember flying into New York City that day, and it was raining pretty good. And they were calling for hurricane-like winds, and I was just hoping it would subside and maybe we could have a dry night, but that didn't materialize.
It's $650,000 Messenger Final. It has a field of 6. Here they come.
Horses just aren't used to racing in conditions like that. Most times they're in the barn when it's raining really hard, but unfortunately we had to race in that weather.
Legacy and Diamonds, there goes Shadow Play on the move early, down to the inside.
Shadow Play's right beside me, but Santana Blue Chip takes the lead early.
Santana Blue Chip quickly confronted.
I was away third on the outside, right on Shadow Play's helmet.
Somewhere, down on the inside, Legacy and Diamonds fourth.
And it seemed to me like he was intent on staying on the lead. When he did that, it opened up the 3-hole for Beach to get a nice 3-hole ride.
Santana Blue Chip to an opening quarter in 27-1 as through on the paddock turn the first time. Settling in third is an unhurried Some Beach Somewhere and Paul McDonnell. They're 4.5 lengths adrift. They'll make it back 1.5 lengths to Legacy.
And now we're back into the headstrong wind, and I was sitting third, and Shadow Play wasn't too far away from me, so that was very important. Right here, I'm edging Beach off the rail to make sure I didn't get caught in.
Some Beach Somewhere, gapping on the inside, Legacy and Diamonds. Brother Ray moves to follow Some Beach Somewhere.
When Beach moved out of the 3-hole, he was then being the horse that was what they call first over. And that usually is the horse that takes on all the air. So now you're going on the outside, you're going a further distance than Shadow Play would be going on the rail. On a normal night, he'd be taking on a lot of air, but he took on the elements. He took on the wind and the rain and the hurricane-like conditions.
Somewhere who's given his cue now. They want a 1/2 mile in 50.
And into the turn, I was just letting him pace evenly.
Shadow Play off stride around the turn when Brother Ray has made a break.
Until he straightened out down the backstretch and headed for the 3/4 pole, and I let him pace up beside Shadow Play.
Santana Blue Chip, Legacy and Diamonds is under urging 5 lengths.
I felt confident at this point because Shadow Play didn't accelerate and get away on me on the turn.
Some Beach Somewhere looming on the outside. They've gone 3/4.
And he got up beside Shadow Play into the last turn, and David Miller started to ask his horse, and Beach didn't let him get away on him.
Right there as they move towards the top of the stretch. Santana Blue Chip's got to do better.
I urged Beach a little bit, and we were pretty much even keeled as we turned to the stretch, and then the race was on, and the two of them went at it tooth and nail.
Some Beach Somewhere, some champion in 152-1.
He just wasn't going to be denied. He wins the race by a neck. What he endured and what he fought through to win that race that night was just incredible in my mind.
In one of Brent's favorite races, Some Beach Somewhere earned another $650,000. And then another win in Canada catapulted the horse's winnings past the $3 million mark.
And he is the pacer that is super freaky. Some Beach Somewhere is kicked away now to a 12 or 13 length lead into the final 16th. Here he is, Some Beach Somewhere to win the super final, adding to his star-studded resume, and he wins in 150 3/5. Keystone Horatio, a long-distance phone call back in second. Coming out for third was trade editor.
November 29th, 2008. Rutherford, New Jersey, the Breeders' Crown.
And they're off Some Beach Somewhere and Shadow Play.
In what would be Some Beach Somewhere's final start, Paul McDonnell took him to the front of the pack and never looked back.
And Some Beach Somewhere is in control and in hand on the backstretch. A length and a half clear of the pocket sitter, Shadow Play. When they come to the top of the stretch, Some Beach Somewhere looking to pour it on. McDonnell kicks out the plugs and he draws away to a 3-length lead. Shadow Play trying to rev up and come get him from the pocket spot. Up the rail is Blue Ridge Western. Some Beach Somewhere. Shadow Play on the outside. Blue Ridge Western at the rail. Some Beach Somewhere leads it as they head down to the line. Some Beach Somewhere goes out a champion in the Breeders' Crown. 1:48.3. Shadow Play.
It wasn't so much that he won it, it was how he did it. He raced the 25th year of the Breeders' Crown and set a record, so obviously it's been 25 years and he went faster than any horse had ever gone. He basically played with the competition. He was, without question, the best horse in the race, the strongest and the fittest.
And congratulations to the Some Beach Somewhere Connections, one of the greatest horses in the history of the sport, Paul McDonnell, raising the Breeders' Crown trophy high as they celebrate in the winner's circle.
After he won that race, and I remember just letting him walk really slow and thinking to myself, wow, this could be the last time I ever sit behind this horse, you know, and he's so great. So that was a little bit bittersweet for me. It was, I mean, I loved that I won the race. It was great. Having that last little walk with him, it was very, very special.
To have a horse do what he did, have $3.7 million made, and to finish his career off like he did, as strong as he was, it was a good way to end his racing career. We showed the industry that you don't have to spend $400,000 to get the best horse. You can get lucky, and you can manage him yourself. You can do all those things without breaking the bank, and a little guy from Truro, Nova Scotia can do it. So if he can do it, a car salesperson, anybody can.
Some Beach Somewhere's competitive run earned Schooner Stables a cool $3.7 million in winnings. That year, he won just about every award you could imagine and became the first Canadian horse named U.S. Horse of the Year. Brent gives all the credit to the horse that changed his life.
If you get him enough water and enough food and kept him out of trouble, he'd have won the races. I believe that. What we did probably drew out his personality some. Buying him was just the luckiest thing that we did.
Some Beach Somewhere never raced again, but his career was far from over. He was about to smash more records and earn more money than ever. Some Beach Somewhere was going out to stud, but the Schooner members wouldn't send their champion standardbred just anywhere.
The Hanover Shoe Farm, the largest farm in the business, one of the best managed, got some of the best mares in the business, and that's where Brent wanted him to go.
When I contacted Brent MacGrath, he said something to the effect like, "Well, it's about time I heard from you."
As soon as he started racing, he was on everybody's radar, and we were fortunate enough to strike a deal.
There's a lot of good farms out there, but it was always Hanover that was going to get Beach. Don't think Hanover knew that when we were negotiating the deal, but that was the case.
He's a champion, a hero, and to have him step off Brent's trailer and walk into this barn was, you know, a moment for me. We've stood a lot of stallions in the 20-plus years I've been here, and he was one of the nicest, if not the nicest. He wasn't mean, he wasn't territorial, he wasn't protective about things.
His personality was borderline pet. He had no bad manners. He liked people.
And it was just fun, I think, to see that modesty almost that he had, and to be able to interact with him and trust him and bring my little son to visit him and not worry about what he was gonna do. And he stayed that way.
Tell my mother I've come home, come home. Tell my mother I've come home.
He loved to eat, and he could devour a bag of carrots in a minute, like if you let him. So we had to put him on his diets. And then we installed an exercise machine, so he would go on that 45 minutes a day.
The original 6 are still majority shareholders in Beach, and we're very proud of that. And we did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, he had been so good to us. And number two, we believed in him.
A lot of great horses do not turn out to be great sires. Genetics is a roll of the dice. In his case, he did.
Tell my mother I've come home.